think we obviously start here because this will be short and sweet, I would imagine.
I'm
Um,
gonna I'm gonna mute you guys for a moment, and you
yeah,
guys just signal me when you're ready for me to come back.
yeah. Then I'll just do a lot of this for a second
Okay.
or something.
Okay, so let me say, can I say my little wrap it up thing for it?
Yeah, Lauren, are you muted? Are you good? No. Okay,
Okay,
good. Yeah, you're clear.
so it is to me, this is the Telltale Heart meets the Indian in the Cupboard meets the Stepford Wives.
Okay, I'm trying to put
That
them all together.
so the Telltale Heart because of the scratching and like the reminiscent of the essence of the person being in the house,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
The Indian in the Cupboard because you go in this room dead and you come out alive. So it's like, oh no, he's dying. Put him in the cupboard and open the door. And like all I kept seeing was that scene and like 90s child crying. And then the Stepford Wives because after they've been, killed and reborn essentially or revived,
Right.
from being in that room, the upstairs room, then all of the worst traits are gone. So it's like the Stepford Wives where they take it and they create the ideal wife, which is essentially what's his face did with what's her name?
Yes. Right. Exactly. Emily.
Sally.
Yes.
Oh, Emily? I don't know. I'm making up
Yeah. It
things
was.
now.
It was Freddie and Emily.
Oh, yes, those are the main characters. No, I meant the artist.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, you're on your side. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Jack? No,
I wouldn't know. In
I have no
Stepford?
idea what their names are. No, in the book.
Oh, oh, oh. Jack. Who?
Is it Jack and Sally, or am I just thinking of Nightmare Before Christmas?
I think you're mad. It says it's Emily
Right,
and
the Emily and Freddie. But who are the
but
artists? Who's the
oh,
artist
oh,
guy?
oh, oh. I'm sorry. I'm here now. I swear. Yeah. What were their names? So the unfortunate
I
part about this
swear it was
book.
Jack and Sally, and it sounds stupid now saying it out loud.
Hold
I
on.
don't know.
I'll know. I'll know because it ends with her, right? So let's see.
Joe?
Jo Jack and Sally. Oh, Kelsey says yes. Okay. So the unfortunate part about this book is that I crushed it in like 2 days, and it was way before I put this into my brain, and this is pretty much gone for me. So, um, we started early. I didn't do this, so I'm going to do the official thing real quick. Welcome everybody to the Shadow Society Book Club. This is meeting number 12, and today we are wrapping up We Live Here Now, and of course halfway through Morning Star. So yeah, I didn't. I think I didn't read all of those books, but I like the correlation between the three. I found it very also like I could pick a couple of different things where I'm like, oh yeah, this story pulls a bunch of different stuff from other things. Um Anybody have anything like amazing? Oh, hey, Juan made it. Good. Anybody have anything that really stood out for you or anything that you felt like was pressing in this book that we just had to talk about?
I feel like the pacing was so slow.
Slow.
The pacing was so slow, and it could have done with another round of editing. They could have taken the 300 pages or whatever it is and probably gotten a more concise, better told story in like 250 pages, I think.
I don't feel like any of the Raven stuff was necessary at all. Like if you want to use them for like like to like for your explanation of understanding the room all of a sudden awesome, but then like going into this whole like we have whole pages dedicated to Raven perspective. Um yeah, I agree with you. There definitely could have been some fat trimmed off on these. I feel like that about a lot of books though, so I try not to overstate that too much because I often find myself going, this is a paragraph full of detail that isn't necessary for my brain, and I skip through it. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I think it was fine. It was fine. This was supposed to be in our horror genre, and I don't find it horrific in any way. And I feel like because I'm such a horror guy when it comes to movies and stuff, that I'm left unimpressed by a lot of books. Like you really need to push the envelope for me to be um impressed, I guess. So yeah,
It's
I think
definitely more gothic horror, more
yeah.
like classic, Poe,
Oh
that
yeah,
style. And I think that's what the whole point of the Ravens was to draw in that comparison.
right,
It's not new age horror. It's not, anything. It's very classic horror feel to it, not it's like subtle, I
right,
think.
yeah. Kelsey also said I didn't understand the Ravens at all. LOL. Yeah, I don't get it. Juan says sorry, just got back from pickleball, so he joined a little late. I love this dude. He's a man of activities. You apologize at all, my dude. Um, Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, we've done nothing but sit around for days in a row. So good
Yeah.
for you. I could use the exercise. Yeah, so not wildly. There was no like major twist for me. I kind of saw everything coming. Um, I do. So this is the second book now where we've had like this alternating. Oh no, sorry. This is the second book I've read anyway in the last 4 or 5 where we have this like alternating perspective between characters. I don't know if I
Yeah.
love it. I don't.
Oh,
It's
really?
cool. Yeah. Do you like it?
I do when it's done well. So one of the books, there's a in the fantasy realm that I put on there for the
Hmm.
Five Broken Blades,
Hmm.
and then the Four Ruined Realms. Wow, Four Ruined Realms is
That's
this
a
the
lot to
second
say.
one? It is Five Broken Blades. It's a 5 or 6 person POV. So you get
Yeah.
like each thing, but they're all converging story arcs, like coming together to merge together into one narrative. And I think it's
Right.
done really well. But there's some times where it's just like I feel like it could have all been done from one perspective. This
Yeah.
book, I feel like, yeah, it definitely has its pros and cons for it. Could it have all been done from one perspective? Yes, but then we wouldn't see the part of Freddie going mad over the
Right.
the the story, and then being the one that the house was actually taunting to try and kill Emily, whereas Emily
Right.
recognized there was something trapped in the house and was connecting to that energy. So I think that that's the purpose of the multi POV.
Hmm.
Why don't you like it?
Um, I guess it's something that's new to me, and I guess I'm just not used to it. I think uh, because it feels so linear, like it's just two people at the same time. You're talking like the one you're talking about, where it's like multiple perspectives that eventually meet at a unified
Hmm.
point. That might be more interesting to me, I think, than this whole like linear thing where it's like it's like our main character's perspective, but then also every once in a while now you've got to get his perspective in there too. I don't know how else they would do it. I guess if I was more impressed with this book, I might like that more. I guess maybe it just needs to be a different story for me.
Yeah. Well, think
It
of
just
like,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I just wonder if it could be done in a way that didn't require us to know so much about him, or like I think it might have added more mystery for me if she had found a way to like give us his perspective or like let us see what's happening to him through his actions and behaviors, some overhearing of mutterings or like whatever that is, versus just like we straight watch it happen to him and then we have to like go through two different perspectives back and forth. But I don't know, I don't really, like I said, I wasn't like wowed by this book in any way. Now that I know that we don't think that 3 is a bad rating, I am going to change my rating scale on Goodreads. Um, yeah, I just don't think it was. I don't know what else. Anyway, that's my ramblings on that. I don't one way or the other. I think it was fine. The book was great. I got through it. It wasn't. It just wasn't like a big wow for me in any way. Yeah, I see Juan nodding. He's in. He's like, yeah, pretty much. Does anybody want to say anything else about it? We're at 20 minutes in, and we've got so much to talk about. Anybody want a final thought on We Live Here Now? Probably not. Okay, let's see if she notices the waving. She's
Well, and
back.
Lauren didn't finish it, so she had us muted until we
Yeah.
got done with the book of We Live Here Now.
I'm
Yeah,
only halfway through.
yeah,
As far
and
as
finish
I
it.
think I've read 3 chapters so far.
Oh, oh crap! Well, now you know.
No,
Well, we
I wasn't
didn't
really
really
paying
give
attention.
anything
I was
away.
spaced out, so you guys are fine.
Okay, good. Good. Go eat, Bubba. Go eat. Yeah, so I don't think we actually
Oh,
gave
you
much away. We all just kind of said that it doesn't matter. We shouldn't talk about it anymore. So, all right, another one
So,
down. Good to everybody who read it or is about to finish it. It was cool. I'm ready for our next horror book to be more horrific for me. I need like
yeah.
a I don't want to turn the lights off kind of book right now. And this has been like you said, a gothic horror and cute for sure. Hello, but not like overwhelming in any way for me. I need something to be like to really take me off my feet. So if anybody knows of one that might do that, I've got a list full of stuff in my Goodreads that I'm hoping might do that for us, but then it just comes down to the wheel. Ooh. Okay, so Morning
unless you
Star.
veto.
Right, true. True, but I don't know anything about the books you all put in, and I certainly don't think that like my opinion is better than anybody else. So I'm going to be the last one to veto anything. I just trust that like you all heard something about this author or specifically about a book, and that way you've made it some sort of educated decision as to why it should be on the list. Um,
I'm saving mine for a sci-fi pick. So,
oh, nice. Why? What do you want coming up? I already
Red
know.
Rising. Just kidding.
no, I mean, after we're done with the
Start
entirety
over.
of Red Rising, I want to do the League of People, but the first book is Expendable, and I have reread it 3 times. I love the book so much, and you can read it independently, or there's 7 books in the entire series.
Oh, yeah. See, and the reason I started this club in the beginning, from the first place anyway, was because like I wasn't doing any of this, and I felt like and it just happened yesterday too. I've gotten so tired of trying to like search through every one of these overpriced movie things and trying to find a story I haven't seen or something that's finally going to move
Mhm.
me again. And I'm over it. Like I'm just over it. So I was like,
Can
books are
we,
my new movies. Yeah, let's
can
try
I
to go.
interject with something completely off topic, but because you
Yes.
mentioned movies, anybody else excited for 28 Years Later?
Is that an extension of 28 days?
Yeah, it's the 3rd one in the installment.
So
I
yeah,
didn't even know about it.
potentially.
It comes out this week.
Oh no.
I
Oh,
think
that's
I've only
good.
seen
So
the
that's
first one
something.
28 hours. I'm pretty
You've got
sure. And
28
28
days.
days.
The
28
second one
days.
is 28 weeks.
oh,
And
28
this one
weeks.
is 28
then I
years.
think
I don't know
I
if I've seen
no.
28 weeks. They just skipped over 28 months.
Right?
Yeah.
How old's your baby? 28 months. Like, we just skipped over the month.
I hate that.
Yeah, I liked them both. I liked them both. You know me. I'm a zombie movie of any sort guy.
Yeah.
But um yeah, I'm kind of out of the loop. I've lost my love for movies right now, and not that I've lost my love for movies. I definitely still love my movies, but I go backwards now instead of like aching for something new. So anyway, so my point is that I started this book club because I was like, well, I need new stories and I'm not getting them from the people I was reliant on. So I'm going to go a different direction. So here we are. And I'm wildly in love with Pierce Brown and this series. So just as Juan predicted from the get go, he was like, dude, you got to go to 2. Um,
Oh my God.
Lauren posed a question in the beginning before we got everybody on the group. Does anybody have a favorite of these? Even though you're not supposed to be all the way through 3 yet, it's okay if you are. Does anybody have a favorite of the 3? 2 is your favorite. Also, that's what Lauren said as well. I agree.
Yeah.
2 was
Golden
fire from
Sun.
page 1.
2 just climbs continuously, and then 3
Yeah,
is like a climb, plateau, climb, plateau, climb.
yeah. So, and I made a
Elsie says
comment
2 also.
2 also. Yeah, I would agree. I think uh this book so far for me, I specifically made like a mental note of what page I had to get to before Darrow put his pants back on and like finally like got off of his like I've been locked in a floor for 9 months or whatever it was. Um so at a page 175, we finally get back to some stuff where I'm like, finally, stop crying. Let's get back to work. But I guess it'll be necessary and we'll see it happening later. And we talk more about this war of love, which is really cool. Does anybody have a place you specifically want to start, or how would you like to see this conversation unfold?
We can talk about the putting his pants back on and the relationship between him and Severo and how it was vastly
Oh,
different for a bit.
A several relationship. Yeah. Okay. So wakes up in the floor, banging his head against stuff, and finally gets pulled out and realizes he's been under the dining room floor of the jackal and hearing mutterings and things and making himself insane. Um, I did anybody see this sort of torture coming? Where did you think we were going to pick back up after a capture?
I figured it'd be some kind of dungeon-esque experience.
Mm.
And knowing the jackal that he wouldn't get killed, but he'd probably either be tortured mentally, physically, or both.
I
I had
expected
Did
no
you
it to
idea.
pick up
So,
like
sorry,
right
go ahead, Juan.
after. No, you're fine. I expected to pick up right after, like how it maintained in that first little few pages. I didn't expect like a
A
year
jump.
jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
Right.
I
either.
expected to hear more about the torture, kind of like seeing in his eyes, and then a jailbreak in a sense is what I initially expected.
Yeah, I definitely
Right.
did not expect him to be held captive for that long and everybody to think that he died.
Yeah, that was a good twist too.
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting to see
There was
whether or not the jackal was legit, like this capture was for real or another plan within a plan. Um, so surprised when he stayed true to it. Like it's been not that he's true to anything, and I'm sure there'll be another flip of the jackal maybe at some point, but or just death, which will be great, and we'll all cheer openly about that.
I
Um,
don't want him to die. I want
because
Cassius to die, and I want Aja to die, but I don't want the
You want
jackal
Cassius to
because
die?
yeah, I really want Cassius to die.
nah,
But
they've been butt buddies
so
since
Oh.
school.
in
There's no
chapter
way.
two, we see Cassius show like his human side by giving him compassion, pity or compassion, whatever you want to call it, when he
Okay.
drapes his own cape over him. I
Right.
felt like such a good resentment, like good effort and showmanship of like, hey, at one point you were my brother, my friend, whatever. You deserve this at least.
I think
Yeah.
it's a little too late.
So
I don't
kind
think
of
so.
God, I just have to keep my mouth shut.
but I think that the jackal is really interesting and brings a different nuance than the other
Mm.
characters do, and has a
Agreed.
lot of
I see that
potential
point.
being a sociopath.
I agree.
So I just want him to stay in this storyline for that purpose.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm questioning whether or not there was an ulterior motive for holding him captive and then faking his death to everybody, because we read that the sovereign wanted him dead, and that the jackal said,
Affected.
no, let me hold him, or let me keep him captive, right? So was he doing this ultimately to save Darrow in a sense for whatever his plan is, not for the good of his heart or anything like that necessarily, but to be did he think he was going to be able to be a playing chip or a pawn or something in the future? And then now this has happened.
I mean, I think
Mm.
the jackal's always got plans on plans on plans. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just because it was brought up, I will say that I kind of, I see where it's going, and I'm upset that Cassius is going to. They're gonna be buddies again at some point, and I'm gonna be annoyed by it. He needs, in
You
my
think
opinion,
so?
he needs to make an
1000%.
enemy. He needs to make an enemy because of himself, not just because of who he is or what happened in school and what they were forced into. He needs to piss somebody off that stays pissed off at him. It can't just be like, I'm supposed to hate you, so I hate you anymore. Like, you have to, like, there's too many things where it's just like, yep, that worked out. Oh, this attack won. Oh, that attack went. And I need this Cassius thing to be like,
I feel
just
like the
need-
jackal is
like the
that
thing
for
in his
him
neck?
though.
Yeah, but they never had like they had like a business deal. They were never like buddies. Even when the
True.
deal went down, he was like, I still know that anything could potentially go
Right.
wrong. Who am I?
Arms
Especially
length.
at that point, right? He was like, I'm gonna die in a week. So but I think with Cassius, it was like we got super tight. Then I cut his arm off because we got real bad. And now he's after me with Asia, and Asia is does anybody openly F-bombed Asia? Because I do it like
Yes.
every 3 minutes now.
Yeah.
I love
I think we
Asia or
completely-
Aja or whatever, and I
Yeah.
hate her. It's a love-hate balance that
How
I
do you
respect
love
her
Aja?
being
What part?
Because she's
What part?
bad
because
ass.
she's bad. Literally, that's the
She
only reason
is.
she's badass. She is the one that everyone knows you do not fight if you want to
Right.
live. You run
Right.
away. Like that is such a good mantle or like background to have. And being the
Yeah.
last trainer for I can't remember his name, Arcos or whatever.
Lauren. Yeah.
Lauren, yeah,
Yeah.
Lauren, like being his last official student that
Uh-huh.
everyone knew, and even he was like, "You do not fight her. You just walk
Right.
away."
You don't mess with the river, and you don't
That's
mess with
why I
her.
love her. And she's constantly getting away. She's smart. She's tactical.
I think
So
she's a
fast.
nice parallel to the Valkyries.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Agreed. I literally curse her name, but I'm glad she's there. Again, I'm glad that there's a challenge that seems to not be we can't overcome yet, right? And I thought that,
Exactly. Yep.
like,
So
and we're gonna get there because I feel like we're gonna spend at least the last half hour talking about the last 3 chapters of this book.
I was gonna say, do we still
we-
really want her around after what she did to Ragnar?
No.
Hold on. No. Yeah.
No.
No.
Yes.
That was my crying moment.
Yeah, I couldn't
When
believe
I
it
told you
happened.
guys that you're gonna cry, that was my crying moment. Just because, like, a few chapters before that, he talks about like he's almost dead. He comes back to life. You're like, oh, thank God. So like he's teasing you this
I
entire
keep crying
time.
out. Like I can't even.
I
Yeah.
was on a plane reading it and had to put my Kindle away when I was done. I wasn't even halfway through my flight yet. I was like, I can't continue. We were putting this away until I get home.
I as soon as are we just gonna jump to that part? Okay,
No,
so
no, I don't want to yet.
But
No.
I want to go back to the beginning. I want to go back to the
Yeah.
beginning. After
okay, wait, let's go
I
back
can't
first. Let's try to get it in
stop.
semi-chronological.
Real quick, Nick, were you surprised when Severo did take up the mantle? They didn't want him to take up the mantle of Ares, and we see in like chapter 3 or 4, he's officially Ares.
So yeah, surprised sort of. I think so there wasn't any surprise to me that he was like not gonna die, right? He was gonna there was no
Mhm.
capture for him, there's none of that, there's never been any of that for him. For him to come out and then try to lead was not totally surprising for me. What I think I was pleasantly surprised about was that he didn't do it well, right? Like he didn't just
Yeah.
like suddenly change and all of a sudden he was a great leader. Like he struggled the whole time to the point of
Yeah.
tears and like almost like, thank God you're here. Like,
Yep.
thank you for taking me out of this role because I don't want it, right?
Yeah.
So yes and no, I think is my answer.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
though he doesn't have the same compassion that Darrow has, and he even
Mhm.
says that, like, he's like, when you look down there, you see them. He's like, I look down there and I see a bunch of ungrateful people who are upset
hate
that I had
them,
to
yeah.
cut rations, and they don't know all the fighting I've done. You look down there and you see their hurt and their pain. Essentially, is what he said. I'm paraphrasing, but
Mhm.
that was a conversation between them, and I think that's a huge part of we never saw him in a leadership role, even when he was leading the wolves, right? And when they were in school, he still wasn't in a leadership role. They were all following Darrow. So he was like second in command or third in command or whatever position he held of respect, but he was never like top dog.
Right.
I think that if like the situations had been different and Severo wasn't Severo, that he'd be very similar to Aja in the like
Ooh.
just the mindless skilled warrior who just follows what their leader
If he
tells
was
them to
if he
do.
was born in like a better gold family, basically, I can see
Yeah.
that.
Uh,
I can definitely see that.
I don't think he'd make it. I think he had to. Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably, right? Probably.
Ooh, you make a good point too. Yeah, I didn't think about
I
that
don't think
because
he.
his
I don't
strength is
think.
coming from his struggle of being an
Correct.
under gold classman or whatever.
Yeah.
No,
Well, he's half red.
I think he
No
has
matter what.
but he's just all guts and glory. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as this book progresses, I am reading it. Okay, I always draw comparisons to other things that I know. You guys know that. So for this book, I'm drawing a lot of comparisons between Guardians of the Galaxy. So like for me, Severo and Ragnar were very Rocket and Drax is how I was reading them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
And then
I love that. Yep, I love that.
and then Mustang is Gamora.
Yes.
And then Severo for me is who's the guy who was the adopted father of Star-Lord or whatever, the Mohawk
Yondu.
dude.
Yondu, yeah.
Yondu.
That is
Oh
Severo
yeah,
to
the
me.
whistle guy. Yeah. Right,
Mhm.
right.
That is how I'm portrayed. Like obviously not like look wise, but like that
'Cause,
whole
yeah.
like kind of seedy
Who's
character. Darrow?
Darrow.
Ish.
He's not goofy enough
Um,
though. But I see what you mean. He's like that leader part of the
Yeah, he
team.
had sort of by
I guess
necessity.
I guess Star-Lord would technically be not Trig since we lost him so early, but what's her name?
Victra?
The Earthling, the chick from Earth.
Eo?
No, they're from
From
Mars.
Earth.
Pink.
Trig died. We lost Trig super early.
His sister.
Starts
You're
with an
thinking of her
H.
sister, right?
Yep. If somebody has Discord pulled up, it's in my notes because I thought it was Dancer and Harmony under
Holiday?
disguise. Holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday. Yep.
Yeah. And in the graphic audio, she has like a Southern Belle accent. Like very
Oh.
Southern accent. And they're
That's
from the
kind of
South
awesome, actually.
Pacific. And I'm like, what happened? She sounds like a gunslinging cowgirl, like, and yeah, it's
That's
weird.
interesting.
Yeah, to
Who
me, I
else
pictured
knows
them
who
as
Groot
Southern
would be?
mainly because the rattlesnake thing,
Yeah.
potion or whatever they call it. I
Yeah.
pictured them like Texas, Arizona.
Yes. They have a very thick Southern drawl, and it is great. It is absolutely phenomenal. But
Kelsey
she's
wants
a
to
great
know
character too.
who's Groot.
How did?
Would that be all the
Also-
Howlers?
Ooh,
Well, Groot could also partially be Ragnar. There could be Groot and Drax for me. Go back and forth for Ragnar
One and the same.
because, yeah.
how did we feel finding out that Victor was still alive? Were we excited? Were
I was
we upset?
happy.
Very happy Victor
Okay,
still.
cool.
Yeah, I like Victra. I think she's
Yeah, I do
got a
too.
lot
I
of
love Victra.
potential.
I
I
kind of
think
want
she's the
Mustang to go and
Tactus.
Victor to step in.
Yes, but I think she's like the counterpart to Tactus, where Tactus was killed before he could be have the redemption. She's still alive and gets that redemption arc, and I think that that's super cool.
That's fair. I I don't know if everybody heard me. I kind of want Mustang to go away and Victor
heard
steps
you.
in. Yeah.
I don't
I
think
said
we
it last
agree.
time many times, and I think I'll say it again. Tired of Mustang. I've said it. I'll say it again. I don't trust you. I don't care. You're cool. I'm glad you got hit in the shoulder with an arrow. Like at this point, or a spear. I am just over it. I'm over the boohoo love story stuff. Like, great, cool. None of your people want you to trust her. You're gonna trust her. It's gonna work out. Bleh. Like, I don't care
I
about
think
that
she
at all.
plays a good role in the story for Darrow, though. Like, she creates this potential conflict with what he's trying to accomplish, who
Mhm.
he's trying to protect, because ultimately he's in love with her and wants her to be a part of all this. So he has to choose whether or not to trust her and put everybody else at risk. And I think it just adds like another layer to
Mhm.
the whole thing.
After reading part 2, would you say that he loves her more than he loves EO now?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I
Me
think
too.
he's questioning the way that he loved EO and to the extent.
Right.
You hear him starting to now talk about how she wasn't this perfect woman that he
She comes off the pedestal. Yeah.
idolized, and he's like
Yeah.
humanizing her again.
Yep.
And I feel like given the situation that they were raised in as Reds, they marry very young, very short life expectancies. There's not a lot of you don't meet a lot of people.
That's a good point.
I think that this is
So,
a very different type of love for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with
Kelsey
that.
wrote,
You
I
see,
think he was young with EO and that he didn't really know love deeply enough. And I was gonna try and bring that up too. Like I think he's also realizing that at one point he expected a shorter life, and he just thought this little capsule or this little thing is all I could ever have. And now he's seeing the
Right.
grander span, and he's like, I think I can kind of live for more as well. I don't need to do everything that she wanted. I need to live for myself and for the future.
Well, and her
Right.
his view on life was so small too. It was just, yeah, very, very narrow view
Narrow.
of life,
Yeah.
and never really thought outside of that. And it was just, this is I'm a tall diver, and this is my wife, and this is what our life is going to be, and there is nothing else to aspire to. It's just, this is life.
Yeah. I like that he's finally adding some resentment to, like, how dare you not think of not only me but our child
Yeah.
as you make these rash decisions and make these pushes towards other things. And I do like that he still references her, and he's like, hey, none of this would have started had it not been for me being able to like rest my laurels on you. Um but yeah, he's definitely, it's like a deeper, more interesting, like, and maybe because she didn't just fold to him either, right? Mustang is challenging him at every turn, ending up with the best friend, turned enemy at certain points, and there's, so she adds jealousy and all these other things, and it's not just like a, oh, I'm immediately in love with you too, kind of thing. Um, but
It's
yeah, I think
almost
the age
like
thing
her
is the biggest
name.
play.
It's almost like her name gives away her personality.
Ooh. Yeah.
Well,
Well, well done, Pierce. Well done.
touching on the jealous comment,
Mm.
how many of us think that Cassius has actual feelings for Mustang and might be a little butthurt or jealous that Darrow and her rekindled and that she's choosing his side?
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I would agree with that. I think that when he felt like he was able to take her away from Darrow and then like put her on his arm and be able to show that and flaunt it off and then have it flip again on him, definitely major fuel on the fire. Um, I'm one, and we're like, I keep trying to jump towards the end of part two, but um, I think he there's just this natural curve happening with him that is kind of annoying. Yeah, I totally lost my brain. Sorry. Yeah, I do think that there is a jealousy there. Um, and I think that's existed the whole time. I think that whether there was a girl involved or not, this jealousy, this sort of back and forth between the two of them, and even though Darrow constantly talks about like what Cassius looks like, right? Like he's like this Adonis, and he's always gorgeous, and he's just like this map of perfection. I think that Cassius often feels the same way about Darrow, and I think that they're constantly like there's like this like self this like internal battle between each other of like who's cooler, who's better looking, who's gonna get the girl, and all that stuff. And it's cute. It feels high schooly, but it's cute. And it's hard for me to forget. It's hard for me to. Well, I continue to forget that like they were school kids that are still not that far from school, right? Like
No,
school
still in their early
wasn't that long
20s.
ago.
They're like what, mid
Um,
20s?
Yeah.
right. When I think
22, I
about like
think, 23.
I've got a kid that age, right? And when I look at him now, I'm like, oh, right, like you're Darrow age. Like that's really weird. Like you've done a lot. Um, so there's that. And I think so it's hard to remember that all of them, like it's literally this like young adults club of like people taking over the universe. And so that actually saying that out loud made me change my opinion about a few things, I think. Because it's like, of course you're an idiot. Like I'm still kind of an idiot. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay. All right. So uh I I don't want to skip anything. We get okay. So let's get
I
back
have
to
something.
Severo.
Go
Okay,
ahead, Nick.
fire it. Are you
Go
laying
ahead,
on the
Nick.
deck? Are you
Juan,
good? You
you
didn't
go.
fall, right? Okay.
No, yeah, I'm on a tree.
It's like, I think
I'm in a kid's
one
tree house
pound.
just to get away from the noise. uh,
I have
I was
a
just gonna bring.
question whenever
This
you're
may
done,
be
Juan.
jumping forward.
Okay.
Okay, we may be jumping forward, but how did we feel about like the terrorist approaches and the missions that Severo's kind of pushing? Do we think they
That's
were
kind of
like
where I was going to go
good,
to.
justified?
I think it just proves he's an awful leader.
He's just out to kill people.
But yeah, so once again, he wasn't asking to be a leader, right? So he
Yeah.
got thrown into this thing. He's kind of always as he's kind of let everybody else do the stuff he knew he wasn't going to do. And I think that now that he got sort of thrust into this, he was like, well, I'm just going to keep doing me because I wouldn't be me without this. So yeah, Kelsey said he was just in over his head and had no idea how to handle it. I think even beyond that, his personality was never going to let him do anything else. And he's got so much hate in his heart and he's so angry and he's just like revenge over revenge over revenge. You're either in the family and you fight for your family or you're guaranteed to die in my presence. And that I think really more than anything, I'm impressed that he managed to get as many people on board as he did.
I think all
Yeah,
of
that's a
that,
valid point.
but also I think that he suffered a lot of pain with Darrow, with
Mhm.
not knowing what happened to Darrow, not accepting that Darrow was dead, which thank goodness he
Yep.
did. But I think that there was a lot of pain and he was lashing out at the world because of it.
Mm.
And it was like, oh yeah, you're gonna take the one person that I love and care about that's left. I'm gonna, after taking all the rest of them, my father, Quinn, half my howlers, then I'm just gonna kill all of you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I would say not again, I think my surprise lies in how much he was able to hold together in that 9 month period and keep people working towards at least quote unquote towards a goal, even though it was messy constantly and there was loss at every turn, right?
I do think that the dynamic between him and Darrow with the struggling for power, like Severo very, very much did not want to relinquish that or listen to anybody. He just had in his head what he wanted to do. And I think that this is my only gripe so far. It was a little too easy of a transition back.
Just a couple of punches and a kick to the nuts, and that's all it took, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I have a reason for that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and this is a little bit more of it's in my notes that I posted, but so we're seeing this whole story, all of these things, right? We're seeing what's going on and we hear the other people talking and things, but everything is narrated. Everything is dictated essentially from Darrow's perspective. He's the one doing the major narration of telling us what's happening. And in the beginning of it, he is cracked. He is broken. He is a shell of himself. In the beginning of the book, we hear that a laugh escapes him and it surprises him. He goes on to question, should I be trusting Severo this blindly? Or I feel so bad for, even questioning him internally if I'm not doing it externally. And then when a mistake happens, how could he not know who's bombing? Like, why didn't I question him? We see all this internal struggle going on, and I'm surprised there's actually not more of it. But we're seeing all of this from Darrow's perspective. So how do we think that him being held captive in solitary confinement in the dark and hearing all this muttering for 9 months has affected his impact as a reliable narrator? And do we think that there could be more to these things? And was it really that easy of a not saying there's going to be like, okay, this big twist and surprise that like, okay, Darrow's crazy, but I mean, just obviously there has to be some type of shift there in his ability to be a reliable narrator with what he's gone through. I think so, at least. Not saying anything's wrong, but maybe just skewed slightly to make it seem like it was easier than it was, or I don't know. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
See what you're saying. Can you hear me? I think good.
I think from the perspective of the writing style we've seen so far, where he is just like pretzel twisty roller coaster all over the place, I think that my hiccup with it being too easy is it just doesn't track with all of that. Like, I feel like, I don't know, he always keeps everybody on their toes. I felt like this was too easy for a writer who keeps everybody on his toes. And who knows, maybe
Yeah.
we'll get more. I mean, we haven't read past the second part, so I don't know. Maybe it's not that easy.
All right, so let me just make sure I understand. So the question is, you're saying it was too easy a transition back. He went from like, I've got this, stop questioning me.
Like butting heads,
This
yeah.
is my thing, to like, nah, I'm good, head in your lap, tears, don't tell anybody I cried or I'll kill you. What do you want me to do? Um, so I see it and I agree, but I also think that Severo had many opportunities to go his own way. Like, he could have taken his howlers at any time, even in school, and been like, we're gonna faction out. We're gonna go do our own thing. We're badass. We'll crawl through poop and, hide in dead bodies and stuff, and we are murderers, right? Like, we can make this happen. It wasn't He never wanted to be,
The
um
leader.
The leader.
yeah, right. Like, he just didn't want that. And he often said, I think he even says it to him. He's like, look, that whole like, the Primus, like, was never gonna be me. Like, you were a Primus from the day I met you, and I never really had that in me. And I think that, like, it was too much pressure for him. I feel like he felt like he took it because he had to, and he goes with it. And I've been in situations in my world where, like, I feel like I just have to take on a leadership position, and when somebody's finally like, yo, you don't have to do that, I'm like, cool. Okay, cool. Like, that's way better for me. So I'm not Severo by any means, but I think that I could see how, like, I would easily relinquish that if it was like, we're losing, it's a lot of pressure for me, I'm freaking out already. Um, you know, as soon as you come back, people are already starting to question, like, do they listen to you? Do they listen to me? This was
Yeah.
your fight from the get-go anyway. Um, I think if I was a Severo, I would be like, phew, I go back to being 100% me and not have to like worry about the pressure of like commanding and making the right decision all the time. I could just go out and gut people and be really stoked about it. So I think that's where
Fighting
I
words.
like. I think I didn't question it so much. I do agree, and there are many times in this book where I'm like, it was easy. Uh, like, even now, right? We get to the end of part two, and we went through a bunch of shit and almost died on the ice and almost got eaten by cannibals and all this stuff. But by the way, Severo's thing worked out, and that works out great. So here we are. We're going back to this, right? Um, so I think that, like, a lot of times they have this ability to just be the big kid on the playground, right? And for whatever reason, they can just come in and smack out armies, and you know, there's no amount of like, just got like half my head cut off, or like, oh, I've been stabbed like 96 times, and we just hit it with a little skin and throw some micro dudes in there, and all of a sudden, like, we're back up and walking in a couple of months. And that's just like the nature of this thing. So, there's too many times where people should have died. Like, I guess I'm just not blown away by things that are sort of simple in this narrative.
So you said something that I want to segue. You said
Please.
the big kids on the playground.
Yeah.
Um, I think that that's not going to be the case anymore. I think they just opened a big ass can of worms, bringing back the Obsidians and the
Yeah.
Valkyries, especially without Ragnar. And I think that they just started a whole bunch of shit they're not going to be able to control.
Yeah, we kind of see that at the
Hope
very,
so.
very last statement of part two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I
What
agree.
did we just unleash?
And again, I'm very hopeful for more. Like, I'm ready. Like, give me more controversy, give me more struggle. Um, I This particular book is more detailed than I feel like I need it to be specifically. We go through a lot of like, there's a lot of parts where I'm like, I'm gonna jump ahead just a little bit. Oh, good, we got back to some talking and stuff. Things are gonna happen again. Like, I don't care what the ship looked like. I don't care how many crags are in the mountains at the, like,
How does
and
he
so
receive
he's
that?
going through a lot of detail about stuff that I don't particularly feel like is necessary. And I'm sure like perhaps in the audiobook that probably is amazing, right? Like especially with somebody else's narrative, it's probably like the world painting is fantastic. But in my head, I'm like, got it. It's icy, it's cold. There's crap that other people made that kills people, and these guys eat people. Got it. Let's move. Let's go back. I'm ready for the action again. And because book two gave us that, gave us like this constant incline of just like things happening. This mild slowdown for me is like, oh, like let's get it back. So I think I would agree with you that like, I agree. I think the Obsidians they're going to realize what they are. The only real challenge to Golds at all, and like just straight vicious. Like there's none of this like moral high ground shit. They're like, we'll just gut you with no issue, and we're a big, we're bigger than all of you, and we can do this thing. So that would be beautiful for me. Juan, I love that you're laying on the floor. And this is like it's such a good background. Um, okay, so all right, so
Wait,
Severo took it
real
over.
quick, like,
Oh yeah, do it.
you had a question. Sorry,
Please.
before I talk about the terrorist things, I think. Maybe you said you had some kind of question.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh no, it tied into what Lauren's question was about it being too easy. Like what she said actually um gave me the ability to kind of put my question in there, because I think part of the reason things are appearing too easy sometimes is because I don't think Darrow's a completely reliable narrator. I think he's broken in more
Mhm.
ways than what is being led on. And that was my question, was just, do you guys see that from reading it? Because I can hearing it, like the graphic audio, I think maybe the inflections and the way that the characters are being portrayed is a little more
Mm,
telling to what's going on internally with them than just reading it and making up your own
right. Then it just being
whatever.
so linear. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I don't I don't ever consider that like there's like this other dimension of like consciousness that I have to be considering. It's just like, oh, this is a linear story that goes this way. So that's an interesting way to like. I probably will constantly question that from now on. But I hadn't given it any thought prior.
I definitely don't think
Yeah.
we've seen the end to whatever the mental repercussions of him being imprisoned for 9 months in solitary
No,
Yeah.
confinement are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that immediately set the stage for like how every decision he's going to make from now on will always be like more emotional, more questioning of himself, less gung ho, less just chaotic. Um, to a fault in a lot of ways. Like, oh, you thought about that too long, and now you've created this extra issue for yourself, or whatever. Okay, so then we get to Quicksilver, who uh
Oh,
uh
yeah.
the richest gang in the land all of a sudden says, oh yeah, don't kill me, I'm one of you, and was kind of once again very easily convincing. um and then we get Quicksilver, who suddenly is now like funding this entire revolution. um and another interesting, so it's really, I guess I like, it frustrates me to a sense, but then also I have to remember that like it's been there's been this like we kind of get awakened to these people who have been on the inside kind of all the way through, whether it was in school where we figured out that Dara wasn't really the only one who had been cut and sent into this situation, um, or Fitchner, who then happens to be on the inside, then his son Severo, who also happens to be on the inside. So I guess I'm not totally surprised. It just leaves this level of like, oh, that was easy for me.
He's kind of like a Raymond Reddington figure. If anybody watched Blacklist,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
very like, oh well, of course, like let me just pull out another facet of my personality. Like, of course I'm gonna make deals and swindle and do all these things and get the inner workings and work my way up. But I ultimately, this is my goal here. Like it's a very multi-layered character. And I think that adds a different element to the story. It's interesting.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many
I'm interested.
more?
Sorry, good.
Oh, I was gonna say, how many more golds do we think are gonna pop their heads out like a jack in the box?
I
And
mean, who's left?
I mean, we didn't know about I mean, we knew about Quicksilver, but not
Not
by
to
any.
this extent. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think there'll probably be another surprise or two, or like, is it a surprise? Yeah, I think I'm interested to see what happens with Quicksilver and whether or not he is just a dude who says what he needs to say, or like, can there still be a play for him to? I mean, I guess at any point anybody can turn themselves on Darrow and the team and like immediately give them over and make it really easy for them to get captured and killed or whatever. So, um, do we trust him, or do you feel like it's going to go south?
I think we can trust him as long as the narrative follows with his goals. So, like, has a very specific vision of what he wants to accomplish with this revolution, and I think that as long as he feels like the Sons of Ares are going to get it there, he'll be Son of Ares. But I think that if at any point that changes, he won't be.
Yeah,
He's an opportunist.
for sure, for sure. What do you got, Megan?
It's off topic, but my brain,
Oh,
you're talking about who's gonna come out, whether their goals are gonna come out. And I'm trying my darndest to remember what happens at the end of, I guess, book 2 with this, because
mm.
I don't remember anything about it with book 3. But where's the grandson? Where's Octavia's grandson?
Lysander?
Yeah.
We haven't
He's
talked
still
about it in
alive.
book 3 yet.
Yeah.
Where is he on the ship with Orion? Like where is he?
No,
would imagine
remember
that-
Tactus took him back to his grandma, and
Yep.
that's how he became a knight.
Yeah, but then he was back with Lorne at the ceremony where everybody got slaughtered.
No. I don't think he was
Really?
there because I think Darrow says now Lauren will never get to see his grandson again
Oh, that's right.
and
Yeah.
re-meet them or revisit or whatever it was. It was basically he saw Lauren die and he goes, I
Right.
promised him he would have his grandson, and now I basically failed that.
Okay,
Well
thank
played.
you. Sorry for the segue. My brain was just
No, you're good.
trifling through all of the characters, and I was like, wait, where's the grandson? I don't know.
Well, if we're gonna trample through the characters, can we touch on what we think is gonna happen with Roke? We haven't really. I mean, they mention him, but he hasn't stepped
Oh,
into the scene yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
True.
You guys thought he was going to be a double eight, but now hearing that he fighting against Mustang and taking her ships too.
Right. And he has this whole big fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Or is he just getting that whole big fleet so that way he can then come back to Darrow with a whole big fleet?
I mean, twists and
Mm-mm.
turns.
So that's a
That's
good
the pencil
question.
of a
Do
book.
you guys still think he's a double agent, or
I don't.
do you still need to play out more?
I don't think he's a double agent, but I still think his guilt is going to eat him alive, and maybe he'll turn back to the other team because of that.
Daryl will just let him in naturally now because he's been under the floor for 9 months, and
Because
Or
he him.
yeah,
or this solves the issue Nick was having about someone needs to just be against Darrow just to be against him. Was it you that was saying that earlier?
Mhm.
Like it's
Yeah.
like
He needs to
yeah.
have made an enemy, like a true, not just because you are who you are, and I want to be politically ahead of you.
But that is
Like,
why
he
they're
just
enemies.
Right. Why?
Yeah, but no. I need you to like. You
Yeah.
can't just be like, "But I love you. You're my friend, and everything's great." Somebody's gotta be like, "Fuck you." Like,
But
you
that's
gotta
how
like.
Roke is right now. He is
Well,
very
and that's.
So is
fu to
Tactus.
Darrow.
I guess in a sense he does solve that. In my head, all I want you all to tell me is who you think's gonna kill him. Like that's where I'm going with that. I think once again he's gonna be like
Where's it in the
who
middle?
was Augustus's little side dude, the little right hand that we up Penny.
Plenty.
Oh,
It was
yep.
Plenty.
Plenty.
Yeah, right. Like we were all just like, "Ooh, how's he gonna go down?" And when Daryl kind of like let everybody else have him, I was like, "Mother," like, just get him. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I think at this point, again, 75 pages of soft Darrow,
I
and it's
love that
not gone.
I just love that you keep referring to him as Soft Darrow, by the way. Continue.
It is. It's he went. It took
Not
9 months to
trauma
be locked on the
induced, just
floor to
soft.
just yeah. Because now suddenly he's like down. Like all it took was like I had to get in a fist fight with Severo, and now enough people were like, "We still love you," and then he was like brave enough to go after Cassius. Like no big deal with Aja, or however we're gonna say her name, in
Aja.
tow, and he were like, "Let's go, we got this, no big deal." It just took it literally, we were gonna die in the ice like an hour ago, but you know what, screw it, I'm back to my old self. Let's go after these two. um
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like anyway, so
I think that also just shows that split temperament, though, that instability. Words are hard. Instability from being locked up for so long, you know?
I
yeah,
also think that every one of them has an issue with ego. Every
for
one,
Oh,
sure, the
including
nature of a
Darrow.
gold, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the nature of a gold,
How
for
could
sure.
they not? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're gorgeous all the time, and you literally rule over everyone. Yeah. So, and just so everybody understand, I'm not just going to be like naturally bitter about every character all the time, but because again, two was so ramped the entire time. Book two was so charred. I have to I like this is me not settling well into like a little downplay, and then like some things having to like work themselves out and ramp back up. Um,
You're not gonna like book 4.
no, I heard that actually. Everybody,
Yeah.
we actually had a guy randomly. We had somebody who was not involved with this at all commented on our last video, and I'm gonna pull up his comment real quick because I don't know if you
On
all check any
Are
of
they
that
on
stuff.
YouTube?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you guys are out there, man. Your life is
Great.
you all are popular. So let's see
Hey,
here. Hold on, where
world.
right? Uh,
Hi,
so
mom.
let's see, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So he said, Austin Kane 3366 said, crap, I thought I turned that off. He said, "Hey guys, super stoked to hear you're enjoying Red Rising. This is my all-time favorite series, and no hyperbole, I've probably read it over 15 times. You should take a break between
Wow.
3 and 4." He said you should definitely take a break between 3 and 4, maybe a month or so. The second part of the series is more complex and much darker. Can't wait to hear what your thoughts are on
Cool.
Morningstar. Hail Tir Morga. So this dude's legit. And so I just said, hey, we appreciate your message. We're definitely taking a break after next week. I can only speak for myself, but it is slowly consuming my life. LOL. Thanks for watching. So people are watching these, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so everybody says we should probably slow down for a second because things are really about to
Yeah.
change after this.
Which we decided we were gonna do that other fantasy novel,
100%.
right?
We kind of
Right.
naturally came to that decision. Anywho, okay, we can't jump over, and I feel like maybe as we get into this part, we should just all have a moment of silence for our
We're
homie
spitting it out.
Ragnar.
Uh,
Yeah, let's just do it. Silence for 10 seconds. Ugh. Okay, it's not 10 seconds. Let's I I saved the last 40 pages for today because I want it to be that fresh. So imagine my surprise when I'll tell you this. As soon as he said, "Can you handle her?" and Ragnar said, "Yep," I went, "He's gonna die." Um, so there was no question to me that this was going down. I didn't know how, and I didn't know how, and the way it played out was beautiful, but it sucks for sure. What How did you feel about this whole interaction? We're sending ourselves to this planet to try to talk to his mom. Ragnar knowing that this conversation wasn't going to be a thing and he was probably going to murder his mom and take over. They get there, it's awful from the get-go. It's just like boom smash, now we're in the ice. We have to swim out and figure our whole thing out. We have to claw ourselves out through the ice to get up. Once we get up, Ragnar's missing and we're like, "Oh my god, Holiday won't let us go anywhere." So Mustang has to dive in. She finds him by the grace of God, but not without some sort of weird, creepy, maggot colored thing that is multiple mouths chewing on her. and something a dog sized on him that she has to cut in half, and like just crazy. And then they're like, you know what? We're gonna die if we're here 2 more hours. Let's get to the other ship that we saw happen to hit. It they get there. Nobody fights them except for the cannibals that are down there. The whole thing was nuts, right? It's been just like, and I was like, yes, here we go. It's gonna be great. And as soon as he said, they're out there, we've been following them. What do you want to do? And he goes, can you handle Aja? And Ragnar said yes. I went, ah, that sucks. Nobody in the history of these books so far has been able to get a hand on that poor girl. Not that she's a poor girl, she's killing it. And I knew that Ragnar wasn't going to do it either.
No,
Anybody in the same?
no. I
No,
definitely
you were just disappointed the whole way.
I knew he was gonna die, and that was like as soon as, just like you said, as soon as they brought it up. I also was going into like it's almost the end of the second book, and I'm like, nobody important has died yet.
Mm,
Well, it doesn't track.
yeah. Right.
Oh,
Right.
feeling very Game of Thronesy right now. Who's up next?
Everybody's getting out. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm interested. So I kind of was hoping that when his sister shows up, he passes. She sends 3 of hers into the hole that Aja falls into. Megan, how are they saying her name in the audio stuff?
Aja, like Raja
It's
without the
Aja.
R. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Aja.
I'm saying Asia like it's a Steely Dan album. So uh so yeah, so I kind of was hoping that there would be more of a chase. Like we went in the hole.
What? I'm sorry, Juan, where are you? You keep popping up in new locations. It's like, where in the world is Juan?
So, sorry, I was getting my kids ready for the shower, so I went inside real quick, got them ready, and then I just came back out. But I'm in Wisconsin.
Sorry,
I
Nick.
love it. No,
I
it's
love how
fine.
it's like, it's not, I'm on my porch.
I'm
I'm in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Like, I love this one. Like just laying down, waiting. That's so good. All right. So I wanted there to be more like your brother was just slaughtered. You sent your people into the hole to find, and you came back just like, we saw some footprints, but no bodies, no blood. Bada bada boom. And that was it. There was no like, well, let's get everybody down there and whoop this chick's ass, like, which they obviously would in numbers, right? Like he did a pretty good job. Ragnar did a pretty good job by himself. 2 against her might be all it takes if they're working together and it's a collab, right? So why wasn't there more of a pursuit? Because there can't be, because we need her for later. Blah, 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 blah. So
I love how all this has become a like Joey Buttafuoco conversation.
Yeah.
Ole. I don't know why, because her whole team is female. I don't know why I'm doing weird voices, but yeah. So disappointed in that.
They have a Nordic accent, by the way, in the graphic audio.
See, that kind of makes sense too. That's dope.
Not New York.
So yeah, I think, why is that so loud? I think that up to that point, I was like, come on, like go get her. I thought maybe like we'd lose Ragnar, but maybe we also lose Aja too, and that didn't happen. Then they allow themselves to be taken in. We finally get to learn a little bit about the mom and the sister. The mom knows that she's selling her children into slavery and doesn't have to say anything, but isn't going to listen to any of you. We're going to give you back and continue life the way it was, because I still get to rule and we don't have to worry about that stuff. Do you think that she knew from the time she heard that Ragnar was there that he was going to have to kill her?
I mean, Ragnar knew he was going to have to kill her.
We knew that, right? Yeah,
and gave Darrow permission to do that, essentially.
Right, in his last words.
And before we even jump to that scene of them getting taken in, like let's talk about the entirety of what transpires while they're all gathered around him and how he's addressing Sephi. And he's like, I know you, I taught you the constellations, I taught you these things, all of that. going back and forth. Meanwhile, she has taken a vow of silence since the day that he was given up as an offering by their mother. And she's sitting here, like, I'm assuming stoic, but also like full of emotion watching him pass. And there's nothing they can do about it. And she goes to slit his throat because she can't see him suffer anymore. And he says no and points to Darrow and wants Darrow to do it. Like, that is
I'd
really
die
telling
with my
too.
friends
Yeah.
crying.
Yes.
He's he he's a beautiful thing, isn't he? All you had to do is give him, man, he's so good. And to step way backwards, it was really interesting to watch him begin to challenge Severo too and be like, nah, dog, we take the high road here these days. I'm
Yes.
glad
Oh,
we don't have to do this anymore. Like the gentle giant that he became was, but also still like, oh yeah, no worries. I'm gonna go mark these three people for you real quick and come back with heads and stuff. Like, oh, he's so good. Um, do you think? Do you so was there anybody who thought that the whole group was going to be able to stay together to the end? Like, do we think that Severo will go? Darrow has to, right? Like, it's not a book without him. But do you think Severo gets lost? Do
Why
we
does it
think that?
why is it not a book without Darrow? Just gonna ask that question.
because
Why is it
it's
not
Uh,
without Darrow?
Red Rising. He's the Red
Yeah, but
Rising.
it's the revolution, and Severo's also half red.
And
it's
the
been in
uncle's
one.
back.
Yeah, it's been in one perspective the whole time. I think if you change the perspective now, that I would be as pissed as I was when The Last of Us switched to somebody else's story at the end of this season. You can't, you just can't, right? You just can't. It would be, it
Did
would be
nobody
like
else play the game?
oh, I did, yeah,
Oh,
I did,
okay.
yeah, I
Okay.
did,
Sorry.
but I don't care. Like, I just don't care. I don't even like
It's like it's
when
the first TV show to be true to its the content source material, but I don't care.
Right. I don't care. It doesn't make a good story. It's terrible. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Nobody likes
it played
Abby.
great. I love those games. They were awesome. Um,
The Witcher.
but yeah, yeah, he can't go anywhere. He can't. It'd be like watching He-Man and then like 3 seasons in, He-Man dies, and now it's, you know what I mean? Like,
He no
but
man.
you can't still call it He-Man. Like, now who is it? Like, so I don't see that being a thing. But I think I mean, I guess we could all be surprised, but I I think a couple weeks ago we read through the titles of the books to come, and I think
Yeah.
even Megan was like, "That's telling." Something's like he's a god or something, right? Like whatever it's something. I don't remember what it was, red god or something like that. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. In my opinion, he's not going anywhere. But how many more can we lose? I don't know if I want
Mustang.
three more. No, please. I don't want three more books
I
of
don't
Mustang.
I don't think that Severo's going anywhere anytime soon. I think that
He's too good.
he might die like later on in like the next, trilogy of the book. But
I hope Cassius doesn't go anywhere, and I hope there's a redemption arc there, just because I think that Cassius has not been given an opportunity to be anything but what are they? Belmonts? That's not it. Bologna? Bologna.
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 Bologna. Yeah.
Good
He's
old
not,
Cassius Baloney. Um,
he's not been given a chance to be anything except that, and to try and have that as his backstory. I mean, obviously that's his
yeah.
backstory, but I mean as his persona, you know what I mean? He's always trying to live up to this. Like, I have to be this aristocratic gold. I have to be this perfect person. And I think that's part of like what you were saying about how Darrow describes him. And I think maybe we'll see him become a little more unshoveled as this goes on, or disheveled, whatever the word is, as this goes on. And maybe see him rebel against the aristocratic gold and join in arms with his maid brother versus that. And I
Yeah.
think that's my hope ultimately for that. But I don't care if Mustang stays or goes because I'm tired of the back and forth. Do we trust her? Don't we trust her?
Yep. Yep.
Eh.
Did you guys
Okay.
see the near death with Cassius coming? How did you guys feel about that?
I thought he died and then he didn't, and I was very disappointed.
But my question is,
I was like,
what
this
happened to
goddamn
him?
cockroach.
But
So
when you end part 2, it's like,
yeah.
is he left with Ragnar's family? Is he going back with Darrow? Like, they leave it off as like we have no idea what happened to him after he gets stabbed in the throat or whatever. They really don't mention him
Maybe
again.
I'm a little ahead. Never mind.
I have a.
I was
I
about
have
to
a
answer that, but I think I'm a little ahead.
Oh. Yeah.
I
don't-
read a little ahead too, so I can't answer it either.
So prediction for Cassius is that we find out, and we talk a lot in this last, well, not a lot, but a little bit. It's mentioned in the last couple of chapters about how he's faster now. So during the fight, he's a lot better. He's faster, he's stronger, and he's been training with Aja, obviously, to like get better. My prediction is he is the death of Aja. So
I don't like that.
the
I
only
love
one,
that. Why don't you like that?
I don't
the
because
only one who has been
Because she doesn't want
trained,
Cassius to live.
she's
No, it's
training.
not that. I don't want him to be the one to kill Aja.
Right.
Who do you want?
I can see
That's
that.
a better question then.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Oh,
I want
somebody who earned it.
I want Darrow to, or Severo, or one of the Howlers, or
No.
one of the Reds, or
An arrow to the heel.
No.
just
What
anybody who has
better
been.
what better way to truly earn your
No.
way back into the fold than to kill the only thing that has been able to destroy everybody else?
I'm
It's,
going with
in my
Jen.
opinion, and I apologize if I'm right, that's messed up, but that's my prediction, is
Can I
that
ask a
she's training her killer.
My
a question?
wish is that it's Roke.
Ooh, that's a good wish. I like that wish.
I think that
It's
if
not
there's a
violent
double
enough.
cross anywhere, it's finally when he's like got her where he wants her, he's gonna get her for killing.
Little
Gwen.
knife in the ribs.
Yes.
Interesting.
How are
Oh, for
how are they
killing
spelling?
Quinn.
How do they spell her name?
Who?
Aja.
AJA. Like Raja without the R.
Okay. Well, I put an H on the end in my notes because that's how it sounds. AJAH. So I thought it was like Aja, like whatever. I'm wondering, I'm seeing a lot of parallels between like, okay, so there's, in my mind at least, okay, bear with me real quick. Remus and Romulus is the mythology of Rome, like the founding of Rome, right? The two brothers who couldn't decide which hills the city was to be built on, and then Romulus killed Remus, and then that's how the city was named Rome, right? So to me, that's Darrow and Cassius. And then there's like parallels between some characters and some definitely see the inspiration with mythology and with some things like that. It's a very prevalent in with the names. I'm just wondering, I don't know the story of Ajax that well, but I'm wondering if she is supposed to be like the female person of that, because I just made a reference to Achilles with like, oh, an arrow to the heel, but then I was like, oh, she wouldn't be Achilles, maybe she'd be Ajax. And then because I know that he was strong, tougher than all of Greece, so he was like the strongest person. So I'm wondering if what Ajax's story and his mythos is, and if that ties into Aja's story at all. But anyway, I will do that rabbit hole later.
Homework for next week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nice. Speaking of next week, does anybody have any predictions on where this book is headed?
Just a whole lot of chaos with the obsidian.
Yeah.
My...
No idea.
Okay.
I think
I don't
it's
have
really
any.
interesting that all the comms are cut, right?
Because
Quicksilver's cut all the
got 'em
comms.
cut. Yeah.
And that Violet, okay, so the man that's the Violet, when they walked up to the thingy, whatever, to prove to the Valkyrie, to Sephi, that the golds weren't gods. The Violet that came out, so all I could see in my head was Neil Patrick Harris in like undercover disguise, like in Lemony Snicket's like that show, like playing the Violet, because the way it sounds in the graphic audio, you have to listen to it. I'm telling you guys. You just have to do the graphic audio version. It's so entertaining. Anyway, it's Neil Patrick Harris in disguise, or Jim Carrey. I don't know. But like Dick Van Dyke style via Mary Poppins, where he's the very old man and who laughs and at the wooden leg named Smith. joke anyway. So
Yeah.
that I think is interesting, and they talk about how this used to be a prestigious role, but now it's become like a seclusion, like a yes, yeah. And when Mustang took off her mask, the woman said, "Oh, Augustus," like knew her, but we don't find out who the woman was. But then the man was Mercury, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's very interesting. Like, are we going to encounter more of the proctors in different scenarios? I think that might be something that we're going to encounter more of. Like when you're talking about what golds are we going to see and where this book goes, I think it's going to be utter chaos. But I think there's going to be little bits of pieces of, are you joining us or are you against us? Are you with us or are you against us? Are you with us or are you against us?
Right.
You've already seen what we've done since we were in school. Where what choice are you making, kind of thing.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I don't I love that you make all these parallels to things, but I don't know. I didn't study enough to remember some of these things. So I'm like, I don't know how to answer you.
Like, I never studied. I
never
don't
remember
know.
any of it.
It's like what's in it? Where's that in the homework? But yeah, I think so I guess the only thought I had while you said that was we're running out of people otherwise, right? We're
Yeah.
kind of running out of like the classmates and the teachers are the predators. What are we calling them again? Yeah, proctors.
Proctors.
Proctors, yeah. And so yeah, I think that we'll probably see a couple of people to make some extra connects that we were surprise connects we didn't know we had or whatever. So I'm hoping for that. I have no idea where we're going from here, which I like. Um, and I wish I hadn't told you all my prediction about Cassius now, because now I'm afraid it's going to happen. So I'm really sorry if I spoiled that for everybody. I hope that
Can I
didn't go
tell you
down.
what I think? I think my prediction for Cassius is that he is going to want to reconcile. I think that he is going to see, he's going to be very torn and want to reconcile with Darrow and the rest of the crew, but
Yeah.
because of his loyalty to his family and his duty, he won't be able to. And it's just going to be a very sad, like a star-crossed lovers but not lovers kind of thing
Right.
Ah, that's a possibility.
Interesting.
with their little non-bromance.
They
How
love
do we
each other.
think that Pax's family, the ones who raised Mustang, are going to feel about what's been transpiring?
The Talaman
Hmm?
the Talamanus?
Yeah.
That's their name. Yes.
Yeah.
Because like about Cassius and about Ragnar dying and about the Valkyries now, because we saw them kind of shun Darrow after they found out he was a red, and now they've kind of rejoined because of Mustang, right? So how are they going to handle, what do we think? Because I think that they have a really decisive um they can throw around some weight physically and
Hmm.
politically, I think. You know,
Do we think that they actually turned against Darrow, or that they played their hand politically
It
and
was
just like
made the
Mustang?
decision they had to make, like, oh, what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. That was kind of my thought, was like they just had to kind of, which is why when one of them gets captured, he's just like, there's no stress. He's like, yeah, what do you want to know? I'll talk to you. Let's do it. Right. There was no like, oh, I've been captured by the howlers. Oh no. Um, yeah, I like that family. I think we're gonna see lots of them still. I think that they're probably going to be our next defense against the Obsidians, because the Obsidians are just what they are. Um, yeah, I love this. Like I said, I think we're running out of characters, and I think like a lot of people, like there has to be, like this dude told us, like the next book is going to be kind of dark and kind of technical, because like there's a lot of like more political stuff that has to happen now, and it'll be less like murder and destruction. We got rid of who we needed to, and now it's just like a but anyway, that's just all prediction. I don't know nothing. I'm excited to read ahead. We did an hour and a half today, and I think it's awesome. Does anybody have any other points that you want to bring up before we kind of do some house cleaning real quick and then get you out of here for the day? No,
Did
we're
we
feeling good.
decide we're gonna finish this one through next Sunday?
Okay, good
Is
question.
that what we're
So
decided?
That was my question.
there was before we really got the meeting going, we talked a little bit about we originally were going to do this every Sunday. We moved it to Wednesday because of Flar, but then Flar kind of disappeared on us. No big deal. But does anybody have a preference, Wednesday or Sunday? Should we just go ahead and stick to Sundays from now on? Should we stick with Wednesday? What is everybody's vote?
I'm fine with either.
Okay.
I'm fine with either.
I feel like we've had a lot of conflicts, though, just speaking just general for the group, that we've had to move things on Wednesdays because of
And we keep coming back to Sunday.
miscellaneous conflicts.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're probably going to continue running into those on Wednesdays more often than Sundays.
Yeah, definitely. At least for, I'm going to be probably 10 or 15 minutes late most Wednesdays if we keep it Wednesdays.
Okay. So I think we go back to Sunday then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yay! All right, we voted. We just have to let Christy know, and so I'll put that in there in a little bit and just make sure. I don't think she'll have an issue. I think she seems pretty flexible, also. But yeah, okay, cool. Sunday it is, and that gives us a week to kind of, if you haven't already jumped ahead, it gives us a week to finish the second half of the book. We are not going to add anything else until we finish this and then decide to go to the next book. Is that right for
Oh,
everybody? We don't.
Thank goodness, because I have 2 books that just became available the same day at Libby from Libby, and I am like, I don't think I can do 4 right now.
Yeah,
I
the
know, I've
double
been-
book thing is cool, but it also adds a lot of pressure, and we inevitably like just kind of poo-poo one and then jump back into the other anyway. So I'm down if we don't decide to go double book again anytime soon. Okay, so nothing to add for this time. Let's just go ahead and focus strictly on this. We'll meet next Sunday and keep it Sundays unless something weird comes up for somebody else. Anything else group wise anybody wanted to bring up for any reason, or anything you just wanted to add? No, looks good. Okay, cool. Guys, this is my favorite thing to do. So I'm glad that we're still doing this. This book has made it really fun. I hope that we have the same kind of conversations about books to come, because this series has been awesome. Hopefully we don't hit a rut. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, throw them out there. Feel free to give me a call. And if nobody has anything else, we'll go ahead and wrap this as the end of meeting number 12 of the Shadow Society Book Club. I love you all. You're awesome. Enjoy your read. We'll see you next Sunday. Good night.